So I thought I'd do a segment called This Week in Stupid, because I didn't know what to do for the third one.
This is a completely original idea.
Yeah, no one's had this one before. But I was just looking and thinking, well, there's a lot of stupid things that happened this week, and I should probably make a segment out of these. What should I call it? I don't know. And so I decided to steal an oldie but a goldie. So let's call it that, because I don't know what else to do. Well, we'll start off with a shill, in case you're missing Carl. Of course, we have a video here. There's a premium video, The Secrets of Rousseau, on lotuscaesars.com, if you want to go over and subscribe to get access to him talking about...
That's a fantastic thumbnail.
It certainly is, the little wizard man that he is. So you can go and check that out. But otherwise, we shall get into the stupid, because there is quite a lot. So we may start off with this rant, you may remember. Remember this, Harry, episode?
I covered this, yes. Look, there I am with my mustache.
So this was the lady on G4 who decided to rant to her own audience and say, hey, you're all sexist, and if you don't like it, don't watch the show.
I think it was literally because people in the chat had been criticizing her for getting details wrong in a review. Yes. She was like, the only reason that men would criticize me is because they hate women.
It's not because you're incompetent. Right, okay. So it was even kinds of all nonsense.
And once again, amusingly, immediately after this, they brought in some Twitch thought in a hot tub to be like, see, we still connect with da kids.
So what happened to the response in which he told everyone, don't watch this show? Go to the next one. We can see the viewing figures. Yeah, not going well. G4 sees massive loss of viewers in recent month following Frosk's infamous rant. What a good idea to tell everyone to not buy your product. What a great product.
Well, it's in the comic book industry. There was, I forget what the name is, the writer of one of the comics who was like, listen, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my comic. And everyone did.
I remember Xbox is just don't buy the Xbox One then. Okay.
Oh, all right. Fair play. Great consumer advice.
So the topic of the G4 Frusk fallout was revisited on April 26th with independent video games journalist Bren Glasgow, this article writes, ostensibly out of curiosity, sought to check in on the network's overall health. I'm sure he did. Quote, meanwhile, said Glasgow on Twitter, G4 TV doesn't seem to be doing very well. X-Play is averaging around 16,000 views. So...
Who'd have thought that one?
Yeah, not going well. Prior to Frosk's declaration that male viewers who didn't appreciate being a blanket attacked, if you don't like it, don't watch it, videos came on the core of G4's channel, pulled in anywhere between 15,000 and 75,000 views, and now everything's stuck at 16,000 max. Oof. So, yeah, that went well. And if we go to the next one, we actually just have the Social Blade, of course. It's a bit messed up if you scroll down for the graphs, please, Michael, because there's... some month, a while ago, decided to delete, 60 million views?
For some reason, I don't know, house cleaning, maybe?
Don't know what that's about, but it kind of makes the graph look a bit silly, but...
Maybe in preparations they were like, I don't know, deleting compilations of nip slips so that they'd uploaded in the mid-2000s or something.
Yeah, but we can look back to January and then today and see how it went. So in January, they had 1.2 million views, minus 2,000 subscribers, because people are already like, I don't like being shouted at and being told I'm the problem for being a man, so... bye.
Unsubscribed.
Yeah. And then in March, minus 300,000 views. Don't know how they managed that one. So, again, losing more and more.
Are they deleting more videos?
Presumably.
Did they delete the Frosk rant video?
That still seems to be there.
Oh, okay.
So they're happy to keep that up. But again, minus 1,000 subs for that month as well, and minus 2,000 for the month previously. Also, and I imagine this month is going fantastic for them. But that's some nice justice. I thought it was a nice little story to go back on and have a look at.
A white pill there.
Yeah, but we move forward with the stupid, because if we go to the next one, we now have the best story I've ever read. University midwife students taught to care for men giving birth through their penis.
Now, I've heard of passing kidney stones, but this is just ridiculous.
It's not a kidney stone, it's a baby.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A British university is teaching its midwifery students how to care for males giving birth. Now, I read this and thought...
Males giving birth.
It must be. Surely, it must be the fact that it's a biological woman who is telling you she's a man.
Okay.
And therefore, well, obviously they're still a woman, so they got pregnant, and then that's what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they had surgery and they got a...
This must be it.
Apparently not. Apparently they honestly seem to think that men can get pregnant, like biological men. We'll get into it. Feminist news site, Redux, revealed teaching materials from Edinburgh Napier University, which states that... Of course it's Scotland, of course it is. Which state the person giving birth may still have external male genitalia after transitioning.
So this is trans people then?
But then they don't actually specify it, and you'll see in a bit, it's all kinds of mad.
Wait, so they... No, they may still have external male genitalia after transitioning. So this is men transitioning to women. And are they getting a uteroplasty as part of that surgery?
How have they gotten pregnant?
Yeah, what on earth?
The skills workbook on catheterization informs students the person giving birth may be a male, and therefore you have to put a catheter up the schlong.
I know.
To have a look at the baby in the uterus that isn't there. I don't get it. Like, you're not going to find a child. It's not happening.
All we could find was a bladder up this darn thing.
Yeah, looking at kidney stones.
Wait a second, we've gone through the wrong way. Wait, it is stored in the balls after all. We finally found it, guys.
The workbook also adds a trans person who has transitioned from female to male could give birth for a specially constructed penis. I don't have no idea what that means.
You mean a specially constructed penis, which is presumably overlaid over your vagina?
No, we've made it. It's you know how you go bowling with your kids, and like you've got the kids thing, right?
Oh yeah,
so they
yeah.
don't have to throw the ball, so they just roll it down. It's like that, except you just wheel it up to the lady, and it's a specially constructed penis they can give birth out of. Like
it's a little tunnel they have to crawl through.
I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, all right.
God knows. Elaine Miller, a fellow of the Chartered Society for Physiotherapy, expressed dismay at the contents of the workbook.
I'm glad that somebody has.
Sure. My
So
reading.
just reads through and starts weeping uncontrollably.
When he gives birth through his penis. Why am I paying $9,000?
I quit, guys. I quit.
She told the website, it's not possible for a male to get pregnant. Oh, really?
This is revolutionary knowledge.
A female with a gender difference can become pregnant, but will not have male genitalia. An Edinburgh Napier University spokesman said it aims to be inclusive for people in the LGBTQ plus communities and will update teacher manuals where required. Required for what? I mean, you are required to literally print anti-scientific nonsense that a biological man can get pregnant. Is that what you're saying?
It's awful as well because, as far as I was aware, Edinburgh University is one of the most prestigious, medical universities. Is Napier University different to Edinburgh University?
I imagine it's a part of it, but it's just the fact of
because Edinburgh is known as one of the best medical universities in Europe.
But also, Scotland is the worst part of the United Kingdom.
This is also
nonsense.
true.
So it's just that no matter how professional your institution, no matter how professional, you could be taking physics. It doesn't matter. They'll scheme in there somehow and destroy it. This comes after a feminist PhD student lost her legal case against a university after claiming she suffered harassment and bullying from trans rights activists. Raquel Sanchez, 32, sued the University of Bristol, alleging it failed to protect her from the activists who targeted her over her involvement in a campaign group, Women's Place UK. Shouldn't be bullied, and also I'm on the side of the... but if you're going to call your turf organisation anything, Women's Place.
We need to stay in our women's place, guys.
There needs to be a place for women in society, and they need to stay in it, and that's going to be anywhere she chooses.
It's going to be adjacent to the kitchen.
The chat has their own views on what that is. She brought a claim against the university for damages in contract, negligence, and under the Equality Act after the way it handled her complaints, but apparently the judge just didn't care because, well, screw you, you're a turf. Yep. But if we go to the next one, because the GB News article here, I don't know why they didn't include this, but they mentioned it's from Redux, and I went and found Redux, and as you can see here, they have the physical documents. And
okay.
GB News just didn't mention the language, because the language is what makes this crazy, and why I'm so confused, and why I genuinely think that they think biological men, like you and me, Harry, can get pregnant and give birth.
Let's not keep inspiring the fanfic, okay?
They say in here, direct quote from the workbook, "It is important to note that while most times the birthing person will have female genitalia, most times, birthing person,
nice anti-human phrasing,
you may be caring for a pregnant or birthing person who is transitioning from male to female and may still have external male genitalia."
The only way that this could make remote sense, and even then, this is just a far-flung nonsense in the first place, right, is if it's female to male back to female, like a detransitioner.
Yeah, the old documentary is, it's a man having a baby from Channel 4, and actually, no, it's obviously a woman.
Yeah.
Who's got a beard.
Yeah,
it's a woman having a beard.
This
is midwifery students are literally being taught that a biological man can get pregnant and will give birth through his penis.
And
I mean,
like Kif, in Futurama, your gonads will be wrenched asunder.
I promise stupid.
You found stupid, that's for sure. And once again, just the framing of it is just pregnant or birthing person. It's written like a document that you would see from an alien.
Yeah, it's mad.
I hate it.
But anyway, this isn't the only stupid. Of course, there is lots and lots of stupid to be had. If we go to the next one, we have Libs of TikTok, of course, collecting the stupid like a stupid merchant, just shoving it all in and being like, well, that's for later.
They're hoarding all the stupid for herself, damn it.
Yeah, here's another stupid in regards to birthing people. And this is an individual who went for a gynecology appointment and was very upset because the person doing the gynecology said that they were a woman. That's very hurtful to them. Let's play.
I had a gynecologist appointment today to get an Explanon implant in my arm, and which is birth control, by the way. And my gynecologist is usually pretty respectful. I've only had 2 appointments, but she's respected me as a trans person. Well, today, as I was checking out for my appointment, I was standing right there in front of her. And she starts talking to the woman that's the nurse that's checking me out. And she misgendered me right in front of me. I didn't say anything because it was 10 o'clock in the morning. That's early for me and it just didn't seem worth it. Maybe I'll confront her in my next appointment in 6 months, if I remember.
So that's amazing.
The funny thing, if she was a real man, she would have confronted her right there.
Yeah,
but she's not.
You had some masculine qualities there, but also just I might come back to my next gynecology appointment and insist, no, I'm a man.
the most masculine thing you know. I loved it when I was a teenager. Me and the boys going for our gynecology appointments.
But I just love it. It's obviously insane, but then the fact that she's like, I'm gonna come back, and as I say, yes, I'm here for my gynecology appointment. Also, I'm a man, and you better say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a masculine vagina I have, yes!
If you're a man, you don't get gynecology. Go home. We don't want you here. Then, you can't have the appointment. Like, we got other people to see.
Well, I feel bad for the gynecologists nowadays, because one, they've got nutters like this walking in going, I'm a man, and then they've got men walking in with penises going, I would like my gynecology appointment, and it's ma'am, thank you very much.
I also love it. It's just like, I'm a man. That's why I need my birth control shoved into my arm. Okay, yeah, I'll just, right.
So many men I know have the implant. It's just a common thing. Messes with the hormones. They get terrible PMS.
If we go to the next one, we can also see a teacher bragging about the fact that she managed to dunk on a preschooler about the fact of whether or not men can have
Well, I mean, for these kinds of people, I suppose, like, preschoolers are about as good as it's going to get for them.
That's the height of their existence. Did you know I BTFO'd a preschooler with facts and logic? That's where they're at. That's point.
I currently work at a preschool, and I have just the story from today. One of the little girls was asking a little boy, "Why do you wear fingernail polish?" And I responded, "Boys can wear fingernail polish. It's not just a girl thing. Anybody can wear it." And I could tell she was confused because she wanted to say, but. I love taking every opportunity to break down the stereotype and empower all genders. Not just boys and girls, but they and them, non-binary, all of the above.
I also love empowering the genders that live in my head and tell me voices.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she hears voices. I also wouldn't be surprised if those voices are preschoolers.
Yeah, being like, "Miss, leave us alone."
And the left gets all of their ideas from children.
No, but the preschooler in this circumstance was actually the one being like, "Shut up, woman."
Yeah, based preschool.
Stop talking nonsense.
And also, to be fair, men have been wearing nail polish for a long time, you know. It's just that back when I was in school, we called those men gay. That's what you did. You called them emo gay boys.
It was very hurtful.
And that was right. That was how things were supposed to be.
Well, I mean, this is the whole point of having genders. Like, you can't have girl and boy if you don't have a distinction between girl and boy, which is, you know, she's arguing she's protecting the boy. It doesn't even make sense in that framework as well. It's just Yeah, but that's the people teaching your kids. I love how she's acting like she's dunking on the child, though. Like the child was left going, but. Yeah, look how I destroyed that preschooler.
Yeah, uploaded this to YouTube. Ben Shapiro, eat your heart out.
What a freak.
I know.
We'll move forward because, of course, Groomer's going to groom as well. In this case, we have a Discovery Plus who have decided they're going to carry on with grooming. If we go to the next one here, we can see there. Discovery Plus just announced a new show called Generation Drag. They want your kids, which follows fine teen drag queens to document their drag journey to find their identities. Yeah. I don't even have to say anything about this. We all know what it is. I love how the fact, though, that libs of TikTok for pointing out these subsequent three things. She's the problem. The problem is you pointing it out, not it taking place. Fantastic logic. And don't forget the last one here for the United States. We have the New York Times, who went with something else that is incredibly freaking stupid. The end of the all-white, all-male cockpit. Airlines are struggling to find enough pilots to diversify a profession that has been very resistant to change.
We desperately want to get rid of all of these men in the cockpits, but there's no black women to replace them with.
About 95% of airline pilots in the US today are male. Nearly as many are white. Not a problem. If you don't care about race, if you don't care about sex, wouldn't be a problem.
Right. The one question I want to know about anybody who's flying a plane that I'm in is, can they fly a plane? I'm not there going, well, I don't know, how white are they? How male are they?
I got on this flight in Kuala Lumpur and he wasn't white. I'm not taking on this plane.
I know.
Like, they don't have planes in the rest of the world, do they? No one can fly.
What do you mean this Nigerian pilot is black? I'm outraged.
Obviously insane. Again, it's just this continued attack, just anti-white, anti-male rhetoric here, as you can see. As air travel became more popular in the 1970s and 80s, airline advertisements almost exclusively depicted pilots as white men. It's almost like they were depicting the pilots who applied.
I was going to say, the thing is, they've just given the statistics that show, well, that's overwhelmingly accurate.
Yeah. So it's almost like, it's representative
Where's the
reality.
problem?
Yeah. It's almost like all those Indians who are very good at IT. It's not because of all the Indian role models they were shown before IT came along. That wouldn't make any sense.
Obviously not.
Idiots. Anyway, with the exemptions in publications, they say, directed at black consumers. So they also just beat their own argument by saying, yes, there were black role models in the 70s and 80s as well, which... Okay.
What's good? This logic, I hate this logic. It's like if I were to go like, I was a really big Jimi Hendrix fan, but I just couldn't see myself as a guitarist until I saw Eric Clapton because, he shares a skin color as me.
Or just saying, like, I really wanted to go into finance, but then I saw a Jewish banker and I went wanting to finance because he's a Jew and I'm not. It's like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like,
I can think of a few people who think like that.
Yeah, maybe the alt-right, but it's just the fact of, like, because someone else doing the thing you want to do isn't you, and it has to be 100% you for this logic to work, you're not going to go into it.
They didn't just flick up a mirror of me already doing it.
Yeah, like, I wasn't starring in this movie, therefore I decided not to become an actor. I mean, it's just dumbass logic. Anyway, but they also defeat their own dumbass logic by saying that there were advertisements made at black consumers as well. So,
great.
Moot point of retardation. They also say there's no role models, no pilots, and then they go on to say, but the reason for racial inequality among pilots, the entire reason, that is most commonly cited by experts and instructors is perhaps the most apparent. What could it be? A lack of role models and exposure has played a central role in keeping many women and people of color out of the field. Yes, of course.
Right, I'm going to just take a little nap for this next section because I've just heard all this before. I'm just tired of it all.
It's so ridiculous. But I love how we were laughing about it earlier because it's just like when a black woman sees pilots who are black women, she instantly just becomes a pilot. She gives up on her dreams of being an accountant and goes, no, pilotry is for me. And then the reverse obviously also has to be true if this logic is true, which is that when a black man sees a black woman pilot, he goes, well, I can't be a pilot. It's impossible, look.
No, I'm going to have to transition first.
It can't be done. Meanwhile, in Blighty, though, I thought I'd end this off with some good news. So, some nice news here, which is, if we go to the next one, we have the Labour Party, who are campaigning. Give me a minute. Trust me. I'll figure out why this is good news.
Okay, all right.
The Liberal Democrats, the Labour Party say, are soft on drugs and soft on crime.
Yeah,
and
they only smoke weed. They don't do the hard stuff like us.
They have an image here saying the Lib Dems want to legalise drugs and soften punishments and get rid of Britain's nuclear weapons. Come back to that. These are obviously, reasonable objections for anyone who is sensible on such matters, which is that maybe we shouldn't get rid of the nukes. As for legalizing all drugs, maybe no. As for decriminalizing some, of course, there's an argument.
There would be arguments for it.
Yeah. And the person responding to this is some Labourite who just goes with, this is so effing shameful for the Labour Party. Whoever sanctioned this should be utterly ashamed. People are dying from drug misuse in record numbers, and we have the threat of nuclear war, and this is their response, not in my name? I stared at this for some good time. I couldn't understand what the hell their objections are.
It was like he was frozen in place, honestly, he did.
We're being threatened with nuclear war, so quickly, get rid of our nukes.
If we show them we're not a threat, they won't attack us.
10 IQ. No higher. That is my bet. But the thing is, you can interpret this advertisement very differently and in a very good way. If we go to the next one, it just highlighted the important parts. Because remember, soft on drugs. Okay, well, the first bit, legalizing drugs. And then they say soft on crime. And then they just randomly mention nuclear weapons. So, presumably, to be hard on crime, we need nuclear weapons. And, well, presumably...
Where's there a lot of crime?
You're going to use them wherever the crime is to get rid of the crime. So I'm taking this as the Labour Party's manifesto promise to nuke Birmingham. And
finally, someone's taken the steps we were all waiting for.
Yeah, if you scroll down on this, Michael, as well, I already bet you all the responses are just like, well, about time. Yeah.
Better start voting. Would we really notice?
Fantastic. The best response I saw was someone saying, well, better use 2 just to be sure.
We don't want... And those left over might get cool mutations, and then they'll be super criminals.
So there we have it. There's the Labour Party's manifesto promise to bomb, well, nuke Birmingham and London and
Manchester,
Bristol. This isn't looking too bad.
all of the major metropolitan cities, in fact.
Yeah, all the heavily Labour areas as well, which is pretty based, and also...
That's right, we cause crime, so you're going to have to let us sacrifice us. It's the heroic sacrifice.
But also, Jess Phillips, the MP for Birmingham Yardley, I imagine, is pretty upset about the Labour Party's manifesto promise to nuke her constituency.
No, she's the one who signed off on it first. She was like, I'm sick of this place.
End my suffering. Oh, boy. So that's the good news. We have one more piece of good news to end on, which is that, well, some new free speech in the UK, finally, at least in the realm of being hired. Pastor who lost job over anti-gay tweet is backed by tribunal as judge rules he was discriminated against for gay pride views. That's right. Christian views on gay pride are now protected under the law. Remember, the Equality Act has, what was it, belief as equal to race and sex. So you can make up anything, technically. I mean, I know we have an argument here for this, because it's actually not really anything extreme at all. But even if you decide to go with the Islamic interpretation of homosexuality, that would also be legally protected, at least according to the Equality Act, which I think is really funny.
Well, I mean, I'd say they're probably much more consistent in protecting Islamic views on homosexuality than Christian views, so this is a step in the right direction.
Offensive or shocking beliefs can be accepted in a democratic society, an employment judge said yesterday, as she ruled a pastor was discriminated against for his views about gay pride events. Keith Waters, 55, a minister at an evangelical church, claimed he was forced out of his caretaker job at a primary school following a single tweet. He wrote, quote, "A reminder that Christians should not support or attend LGBTQ Pride Month events held in June." Well, it is a sin.
I mean, yeah, that's
One of the 7 sins.
highly uncontroversial.
But obviously, he then goes on to write, they promote a culture and encourage activities that are contrary to Christian faith and morals. They are especially harmful to children. And him alerting to here the obvious distinction that people like Douglas Murray make himself. Being a gay man, he still makes this distinction because it's obviously true. Which is you
Also,
have...
where is the lie?
You have homosexuals and then there are the queers. And the queers are different.
I wouldn't let your kids near him.
The homosexuals are people who are gay, and that's yeah, it's part of them.
Yeah,
And,
whatever.
The queers is that's their life. That is their entire life, which is why they always end up being groomers as well.
And I think time has gone on to prove how right he was about them being harmful to children.
Well, Libs of TikTok certainly has as well. The comments were condemned as homophobic and triggered a vicious backlash, including a campaign of harassment in which undertakers were sent to Mr. Waters' home to discuss his funeral.
Wait, what?
The movement of tolerance and acceptance called up undertakers, sent them to his house with a letter saying you are to discuss the funeral of Mr. Waters with Mr. Waters.
And that's pretty impressive scare tactics.
Pretty sure that's illegal.
Also illegal, yes.
Well, the Isle of L Primary School in Isle, Cambridgeshire, began an investigation, but the married father of one resigned 3 weeks after the tweet, a day before he was due to face a disciplinary hearing, because he probably knew he wouldn't get a fair trial. Cambridge Employment Tribunal has now ruled that he was the victim of indirect discrimination on the grounds of his religion or belief. Judge Sarah King said a widely shared belief demands particular care before it can be condemned as not being worthy of respect in a democratic society. Which again, opens everything for Islam as well, which I think is really funny because the Equality Act is such a broad-ranging document that it absolutely can include such things. She added, beliefs which are offensive, shocking, or even disturbing to others can still be protected. Very base. After the ruling, Mr. Waters said it was an important win for our freedom to speak the truth of the gospel without fears of losing our jobs. The school received 3 formal letters of complaint. That's it. That's all the complaint they got about his evil actions. One had claimed he had called for violence against people who support the Pride Festival.
Don't remember that part.
No evidence of that whatsoever.
Nope.
Some SJW just made it up.
I mean, to be fair to these people, words can be violent, so purely not attending can be violence, even though silence is violence, although at the same time not speaking up in support is also violence. So
Anything that disagrees with me is violence.
basically, yes.
Yeah.
But anything that agrees with me while taking the attention off of me is also violence.
But the lovely news at the end of this is compensation will be determined at a later date for this as well. And Mr. Waters, if you're listening, don't be Christian about it.
Go for the big bucks.
They have to pay a price, and they don't care about paying a price in morals because they don't have any. They have to pay a price in pounds. Take as many poundaroonies as you can from them, and they'll never do it again.
Go into the court hearings in your best stripy black and white shirt with a swag bag.
with a list of things you are going to buy. And say, I'll make it half this list if we can do this quickly. Anyway, that's This Week in Stupid for you there, which is a bunch of things I thought that were stupid this week. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to check out all the content we have on the site, such as this book review from Hannah Gell of Douglas Murray's news book, The War on the West, How to Prevail in an Age of Unreason. And if you want to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.